Good morning. It's really hard to come in after listening to Ram Dass and try to share because he does such a good job at putting us in that heart space, in that place where we understand why we're all here and why we're all yogis and why we do any of this, and to come on the backside of it kind of just feels useless on my part. But I do love Easter, and I do love the teachings around Jesus and Mary and the cross and Christ consciousness. And a lot of us are in the South, so we have a deeper relationship with the nuance of Christianity. Or if you were like me, you were raised, in a very heavily Christian environment. And so for us to sort of work with that as yogis and be in relay with that and what that means for us, especially in the South, is always a special thing around Christmas and Easter. And anyways, let's tune in and then we'll chat a little bit. This class is called Sacred Scroll. And the overarching message that I want you to know is that you, me, we humans are the sacred scroll. And the chakras and the 10-body system is this unrolling of the information, which is, we have these divine revelations. And much of what Jesus taught, and especially to Mary, which she came to realize through her sacred heart, which has nothing to do with a physical place in the body, but it's a spiritual mind, or the spiritual eye, which we would call but it's not like these eyes. It's the heart that you see with through the heart. That she was able to receive the messages from Jesus, and it's through the chakra system and through the 10-body system and the unrolling of that in our beingness. You are the sacred scroll being unrolled to sort of receive these divine messages, and then to embody them, which is why we do the yoga, the meditation, the nervous system expansion, so that we can take those qualities, which is why it was so important that these masters took birth in human form, to be like, it is possible to have this human body, to embody that sort of consciousness and then interface with the people and the world around us, and burn off the karmas that we are constantly creating. But let's tune in and we'll talk about it just a little bit more. If you're new to Kundalini Yoga, we use the mantra Ong, O-N-G, Namo, Gurudev Namo. We do 3 times, and then there's a protective part which you can just listen to, or you can just listen to both. Sit up nice and tall, bring the hands to heart center, inhale, and exhale. Inhale to tune in. Squeeze up through your root lock. Exhale. Inhale. Angade name, Jugagade name, Satgade name, Siddhi Gurudev name. Angade name, Jugagade name, Satgade name, Siddhi Gurudev name. Angade name, Jugagade name, Satgade name, Siddhi Gurudev name. And exhale. I don't know if we did that 2 or 3 times. Sometimes I get lost in the mantra. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about the sacred scrolls, Jesus, and then we have a few meditations that were said to have been passed down from Christ. And specifically, when we talk about Easter, we have the story of Passover, of Jesus being crucified and then being resurrected. And the biggest lesson that personally I take away from the sort of iconography and parable and energetic transmission of that space is that as a yogi, as someone who knew what was going to transpire, Jesus, the compassion, the empathy, the mercy, the forgiveness that he was able to embody during that process is something, while keeping the heart open, is, a constant something that we can work on each day, through just any interaction that we have, like no matter who we're interfacing with in our life. How often does someone do something to us that our ego gets offended and we shut down the heart and become reactive, or we lose vision that everybody, even like, the story is that Jesus interfaced with, the most diabolical people, the kind of scum of the earth. That's who he was like hanging out with and sharing his love with, his time. We as people, whoever we're giving our time and attention to means we value them. Like we are getting something back from that relay. And so we're not choosing to hang out with people that have hurt us, right? Or that we can't necessarily like get anything from. And he was just this being that emanated love without condition, which is very hard for us. This unconditional love, no matter who he was with. So, through that process, as a human, that he was able to emanate that, we can take that on some level and pass that along. And so this time specifically of regeneration in the spring, and this time that the Passover comes right after spring equinox, is really a time for you to use that same frequency to make some forward momentum in your healing journey, in your forgiving journey. There's all people that have hurt us in life and that we have hurt also. So maybe it's something you need to forgive yourself for that you did. That's what sin is. Like Jesus died for our sins. It's, who knows what the translation of sin is? You can unmute or put it in the chat. It means misstep or mistake, like to mistake the step. And so basically, we're all, you have to assume everybody's doing the best that they can, and if they could do better, they would. So having that sort of ability to relay with Christ, missing the mark, exactly, to unroll that sacred scroll, which means you're able to come into that same place that Mary was interfacing with Jesus as a priestess, as a sacred devotee of Jesus in her sacred heart, and through her the way that the sacred scroll within her spine unrolled, that she was able to relay with Christ as a frequency, as a consciousness, and stay there, because it's painful, right, when someone hurts us, to forgive them. There has to be a surrendering. There has to be a surrendering to the pain, to a forgiveness, to a compassion, to a letting go. And all of that's happening on a spiritual level inside of our system, through the chakra system, through the frontal lobe, through the spinal column. And so that is the alchemical process of being a yogi, and why it's a frequency and a consciousness thing. And to sort of have that divine revelation be able to unfold or unroll inside of you is what we're really talking about, that Christ was able to embody and that we can interface with and learn from, because he was a human. And it's through Jesus and Mary, their sort of union. There's many, many layers to their union. But as students, none of us are masters. So as students, that's what the kind of seat we can take and say, okay, how was Mary sitting at the feet of Jesus, learning, unraveling her as a person, her consciousness, her sacred scroll? And right now, this morning, I want you to ask yourself that, like, who can I forgive right now that I need to forgive? Where can I forgive myself right now? And not in just a intellectual way, but like actually in your heart, right? Where it doesn't stay shut down, where your being doesn't shut down, where your mind isn't in a place of judgment. Does anybody want to share anything around this? Because basically right now that's what it's all about, because we have the yogic sciences right now to heal and move our karma. It's not guaranteed that, we're always constantly creating more karma, basically, and to have the Dharma means we're able to actually clean up some of that stuff in this lifetime and not have to figure it out, because it's all just suffering, right? Like, we're creating more suffering for ourselves and others. And while we have the yogic teachings to embody some of this and have that sort of perspective to heal it and clean some of it up, so that we're not, we're blind, sure, in this life, but even more blind without the Dharma, right? Without these teachings. So we really have a profound opportunity in this lifetime, like if you're here, to really move the mark on this stuff and work with it, despite how painful or hard it is, and especially right now in this time. But I want to hear from you guys. If anybody wants to share.
I'll actually share something. Sometimes I think that forgiveness is not just forgiving in our heart someone that hurt us, but we also have to forgive ourselves for being hurt. So it kind of comes down, it's kind of twofold. So in forgiving others for different things, it's also forgiving yourself to keep your heart open and not calcified.
Yeah,
So it
because
keeps us pure.
some part of us chose that, and, to not be in victimhood and to take responsibility for our part in the happening of it. Thank you. So powerful and so true. And that's really, that is the embodiment. That is Jesus, and that was Mary. It's saying, so many of the teachings talk about Mary was the only person to kind of stay and be with Jesus after the crucifixion, and it was really in that space. There was just such a beingness, like a purity of her being, that wasn't in victimhood. She wasn't saying, why is this happening to me? She was letting it open her, unravel her. And through that surrendering, she was the one that he appeared to. Through that process of her, we're using this metaphor of the sacred scroll, but that unraveling of her being through that process is what allowed her consciousness to receive Jesus, after he had crossed over. And so it's the same, what Ananda Sopodik was just sharing was like, through that forgiveness of yourself and other people, that's when we sort of come into that spaciousness that we all kind of crave, where we were relieved of the suffering, however momentarily it is. But that's what we're up to. Like, where can we create that spaciousness? And for whatever reason, on the other side of grief, on the other side of pain, like when somebody passes, it's extremely painful, but there's also this sort of liberation that you come into when you cry, and when there's this death, that there's this sort of freedom that happens inside your being, because death, there's no choice but to surrender into that and to find some sort of acceptance of that. And so really that's all we're talking about, is our ability to like do that every day, and to come into that sort of surrendered, open heart, sacred heart space. And however quickly we can do that is kind of based on what our nervous system can handle, or what sort of chi we can move through, how quickly we can forgive, how quickly we can sort of move the information through the system to arrive to that place, which obviously Jesus was a master and could do it, instantly. Anybody else?
Hi.
Hey,
Um, Hi, it's good to be here.
so good to have you.
Thank you. I'm having a lot of thoughts. I don't have one that I feel I need to share with the group, other than I think it's doing all these tantric things and just studying that art, and the art of relay has really helped me personally with um overcoming victimhood things. So an example, yesterday I walked outside and a neighbor was out there with his dog, and I don't know this guy yet. And I was like, hi. And he's like, hey. And he's like, are you getting settled in? And I said, yeah, I'm getting there, but I'm just really happy to be here. And in the past, I might have stood there and talked to that guy for like an hour. And I'm learning that it's the relay. It's you do a little and then see what they do. And then I see what I do and they see. So I can still have an open heart without like giving all my time and energy and openness. So again, there's not a conclusive thought in this. It's just you're inspiring a lot of reflection right now. So
Awesome.
thank you for that. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, ultimately that's basically, it's an exploration. It's an openness to see, what the ego is going to have to say, or what the space is going to offer, or what the heart has to say, just that sort of curiosity around. Um, Ram Dass has this quote where he says, just be in a space where if someone wanted to come up for air, that your being allows that, we're not so. He calls them mind nets. So like I'm very locked in. He called it earlier. He called it multiple personalities, or like spiritual schizophrenia. Like Anna Davis or Teresita Carr. Like we can use those two because like I'm the one sharing right now. But he has like Ram Dass and Richard Alpert. So it's like there's these different parts of we all have these different parts of our being, where the parts of us that aren't quote unquote cooked want to come interface with the world, and that's the parts of us that are creating more karma. And then obviously the other parts where we are yogis and we understand all the things, when we listen to Ram Dass or our teachers talk, it's like we understand what they're saying and we come into that oneness. And that's the part where we can kind of just hang out and see what unfolds, and how long can we sit there in that sort of space with curiosity without shutting down out of fear, that things can kind of unfold. And so that's where it takes great nervous system strength, and why we practice Kundalini yoga, is to see how long we can kind of stay in that space. Before we move on, before we practice, they understood that energy is everything, energy is frequency, yeah, and they vibrated that to others. Yeah, I mean, truly, it's not what we say, but it's like what our being is emanating at any given time. that really people are interested in. And again, that's also why we practice Kundalini yoga, because it's like if some part of us is unhealed, people can feel that. And a lot of times we can see it in other people better than we can see it in ourselves. And that's why it's so important as spiritual practitioners. None of us are perfect, and we're all on this journey together to keep embodying this frequency that Jesus held, that Mary held, of forgiveness and compassion and empathy, because of course we can see it in each other. And we want to cut each other off and say, no, this relationship is over, or no, this is done, because like we can see all of that stuff in each other. But part of the Sangha is saying, no, I see that, and let's continue on this path together. And let's continue to evolve together. Let's continue to forgive. So, and that's different than other relationships that we hold outside. And of course, we want to extend that to everybody in our life, but specifically in a spiritual community, it can get really messy and really sticky because we can see all that stuff. So really right now, like I said, I want you to focus on where can you soften, expand, forgive, move forward, and not, just any relationship in your life that needs it. And then I wanted to circle back around from last week. We talked about the conscious projection and victimhood. And if any of you had anything you wanted to share over the last week, that anytime you realize you were narrating your experience in a way that you weren't enjoying, and then you were able to change the narration to then enjoy it in the moment. Did anybody get to play with that or have anything they want to share on that? Even if you weren't here, that's what we were playing with last week. We spent the last week playing with was our homework through conscious projection last week. So yeah, feel free to unmute or put it in the chat. We like the quote unquote proof in the pudding around here.
Well, that's interesting, because I didn't consciously realize that's what you talked about last week, but like that's exactly it. I walked away from that exchange and I was like it was fun because I was intentional and it was empowering, and I thought it left room for more to get to know a new neighbor. We didn't have to exchange our life stories in that moment. And sometimes that does happen, and that's great too. But for me and my journey and experience right now, it gave me energy to just stop it there and be like, okay, have a good day. See you later. So anyway, yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah. Thanks.
Thank you too. Anybody else? All right. So, really, what I'm inviting you into this morning inside of this Easter window, which is so special, is that we all operate inside of a collective consciousness. And the collective right now is very focused on this Master Jesus, and inherently inside of that is the various relationships. There were 3 Marys that had significant relationships with Jesus, and depending on what you're called to, some level of you probably has a relationship to Mary. And so what we were just sharing is that everything has a vibration or a frequency. So to be kind of focused on Jesus the Master and Mary in whatever ways that vibration or frequency is going to unroll you as the sacred scroll. And to be very intentional about your personal healing right now and your personal journey of forgiveness and compassion. And basically that's what this life is for. That's what we're up to right now, is for you to have the sacred outlook of that life right now, every opportunity is an opportunity to forgive yourself or others, and to come into that heart frequency. The one where you knew even if someone was going to murder you in cold blood standing in front of you, could you still put them on your altar and love them? Okay, so that's what I want to leave you with. And we're going to practice these mudras, these kriyas that Christ himself was said to have practiced, and to sort of put you inside of that Christ consciousness frequency to help you feel it, have an experience with it, but also take it with you out into the world after today. We're already all tuned in. So we'll start in cat-cow. Everyone's pretty much familiar with cat-cow if you've practiced yoga before. In Kundalini Yoga, we want to move a little bit quicker. So you're inhaling the chin and chest open, and then exhaling, rounding. Move at a pace that feels good to you at first. Just warm up the spine, and then begin to move a little bit quicker. And then once you drop into that, we want to use the mantra Sat, S-A-T, Nam, N-A-M. It means I am truth. You're going to inhale, connect the mantra with the movement. So inhaling Sat, exhaling Nam. And basically, the spine is the point in which all of the energy, the Kundalini Yoga moves up and down and unravels you as the sacred scroll that receives these divine revelations, all your experiences. So we just want to warm it up.
This is the mantra of Baba Deep Singh. This is personal Guru mantra. When Baba Deep Singh head was beheaded, the second in charge said, "You promise your head if you fight the war to liberate Hari Mandir, your head shall fall in the prakarma of the Hari Mandir." And Baba Deep Singh had spoke, "Put it on my hand, put it on my left hand." With the right hand, with that 18, that sword is still there. 18 pounds, sword he got up. And when enemies saw it, they didn't know where to run. Head has a spot in the Hari Mandir still today to honor this great man. And this man's great mantra is Govinde, Mukande, Udare, Apare, Hariyam, Karim. It's a Guru Gayatri.
Govinde, Mukande, Udare, Apare, Hariyam, Kariyam, Nirnamne, Akamne, Govinde,
Sikhs asked Guru Gobind Singh, and Guru Gobind Singh gave them the Guru Gayatri. Baba Deep Singh perfected it. And that's why in the record of history, it's a history, not our Sikh record or Sikh history. In the world record, Baba Deep Singh fought headlessly with enemy, and that brought us the victory and the defeat. It's a great thing, but it happened. It's a small thing. It happened.
Inhale, open the heart, open the throat. Exhale, round spine, tuck the chin, arch the back. Inhale to a neutral spine. Exhale, sit onto the heels, forehead comes down to the earth. Palms come together as the arms stretch out in front of you for Guru Pranam. And just in your sacred heart, allow your sacred scroll of your own consciousness to unravel, unroll, and just see the crucifixion, see Mary, see the resurrection, and just feel this own Shakti within yourself moving up your spine, this ability for you to resurrect anything that's dead within yourself, in your life, in a relationship. Inhale and exhale. And we need to move the blood just a little bit more consciously. And actually these are said to to remove fear, the way it moves the backs of the legs. So we're going to do frogs. If you're new to frogs, you're going to come into a squatting position. The heels are going to come together. You're going to be on the toes, and then you're going to be on the fingertips. On the inhale, you're going to fold over the legs, and then exhale, squat down to the starting position. And I want you to move at a pace that's sustainable for you. So I don't want you to get going so fast that you have to completely stop. So if you have to move really slow, and that's the pace that you're setting your wind horse at, great. Or if you need to push yourself and get a little bit faster going momentum, feel into your 10-body system. And if you need a little more if you need that pressure, that sort of push from yourself to do a little bit more today, great. If you need to be more gentle with yourself, wherever you're at, inhale, fold over the legs. Exhale, squat back down. You're on the clock. We won't be here for long. Please breathe very, very deep, deeper than normal.
Why it happened? Why I believe it? If God wants you to live, He will make you live without breath of life. And He does in the womb of the mother. You don't breathe, and you live. All the stories in the religion, all the stories in every religion, just tell you one thing. In the eyes of God, we are all one, because there is one God.
Kariyan Nirname Akame Govinde Mukande Udare Apare Hariyan Kariyan Nirname Akame Govinde Mukande Udare Apare Hariyan
Inhale, fold over the legs. Give your life nerve, aka your hamstring, a good stretch. Just hang out here, regulate the breath, settle the heart rate. It's through these postures, through these meditations, these kriyas that we slowly and consistently call up the Kundalini. You unravel your sacred scroll. And it's through that practice that we're able to do that and just our everyday exchanges, our mundane moments, our post-meditation experience. Come back down to seated. And then if you're practicing Kundalini for the first time, this is called rock pose, where we sit on our heels like this. And if you don't have access to that, you can stay in easy cross-legged seated position. You can also put a block underneath your glutes in between your legs or a pillow. And then we're going to bring our thumbs to what's called the Mercury mound, which is the base of the pinky. And then we're going to do these backward strokes over the head. So in iconography, you see the halo around these masters, these saints. We all have an arc line that goes basically ear to ear like this. And so we're taking these fists and we're cutting through, and as women we have one that goes nipple to nipple as well. So we're cutting through both of these. And then just for fun, since we are talking about a master today, you always see people bowing their heads at the feet of the master, or why, like when Jesus is crucified, in these pictures you'll see flowers at his feet. It's because masters have an arc line that go from their feet toe to toe. And so you're trying to connect your arc line, your halo, with the master arc line at their feet, is why a lot of times you'll see somebody bow at a master's feet. Okay, so this is called Fist of Anger, and we can't talk about healing, we can't talk about compassion, we can't talk about all of these great things we want to embody without getting rid of some of the anger. So we're going to consciously do it here in our practice this morning, and we have O mouth breath of fire. So you're pumping the navel. If you're pregnant or on the first few days of your cycle, you'll just do long, deep breathing, but otherwise we're on the clock. Now begin to consciously get angry, all the things that you're frustrated about, all the things you wish you could change right now, all of the things that you're unhappy with, how they are in your life or your feelings about them. Go ahead and get all of that brought up and feel all the anger about it, all the frustration, the displeasure. Close the eyes, drop into the breath. Inhale, interlace the fingers, reach the arms straight up as you flip the palms up towards the sky. Inhale, zip everything up. Bring this root energy, this energy that sits at the base of the spine, the kundalini, bring it up the spine to the third eye. Stay up as you exhale. Inhale deep. Unroll yourself through the chakras. Bring the energy up the spine, through the sacred heart, the third eye, out of the Christ consciousness crown. Drop all your anger. Last time, exhale. Inhale. Squeeze up like you're trying to stop the flow of urine. Navel, rectum, sex organs, squeeze up. Become very bright. 9 feet. And then exhale, sweep the hands through the aura. Bring the hands to the earth for just a second. Good. Come to easy cross-legged seated position. We have to burn out this stuff consciously so it doesn't seep out unconsciously in our everyday life and exchanges. Okay. So there's various meditations and mudras that were passed down, that it was said Jesus studied yoga and meditation in India, and that we have some of these in our lineage that were passed down. But we're going to work with this one specifically this morning, which is this Christ Kriya, but specifically it's the Victory Christ Kriya, which is, we're using this V for victory. And through this time of healing, as the collective consciousness is turned towards this liberation, the resurrection, the salvation, many of you already know this teaching, but you can put the tongue on the roof of the mouth and just chant victory anytime that you need it. So in this window right now, if you feel overwhelmed, if you feel like you can't move forward, if you can't forgive, if you can't find some way to self-liberate, to resurrect yourself, or whatever it is that you need to resurrect through your Shakti energy, then you just put the tongue on the roof of the mouth and chant victory. And you have that at any time during the day, okay? But specifically right now, we're going to do this. You're in easy cross-legged seated position. And when we think about Christ, we think about, and specifically the crucifixion, we think about endurance, right? And so one of the frequencies that we can learn, that we can take and embody, is this alternative to, if we can't cure something, if we can't get out of it, if we can't change it, then we have to endure it. And so that's what this mudra and this meditation gives you. So I really want you to focus on opening your own sacred heart. You can picture Christ, you can picture the cross, you can put yourself in the priestess devotional energy of Mary, whatever you need to do. I want you to have that experience. Put yourself in that position. We call it positioning yourself, which is a psyche adjustment. When we're in this meditation and you begin to feel weak in any way, or like you can't stay in it, see if you can give yourself a psyche adjustment. Picture Christ. Put yourself in the priestess position of Mary, however you want to position yourself, to be able to stay in it longer, to find that endurance, to receive the sort of energy of the mudra, okay? So we're here. The peace sign fingers are also the sign of victory. The arms are going to come up, out to the shoulder level height. Upper arms are parallel to the ground. And then the palms are going to stay facing forward. And it says, don't allow the hands to fall forward. Keep them in line with the body. And then you're going to look down at the tip of your nose. So you're in your position. Go ahead and stay there. And begin to breathe long and deep. Begin to slow your breath down. This is an extended meditation this morning. We're going to stay 11 of the 31 minutes. And I want you to begin to slow your breath down so deep but it takes you about 20 seconds to 30 seconds to inhale, and then 20 to 30 seconds to exhale. We're trying to slow the breath down so much that you're only breathing in around 2 to 5 breaths per minute. So begin to try to count your inhale up to 20 seconds. Stretch the inhale out that long. And then whatever length you're able to get up to for your inhale, be able to create the same length on the exhale. If you need to drop your chin a little bit to lock in the arms. But we're creating endurance here. And I'm going to put on this mantra that's very healing. And just begin to take yourself deep into the meditative space. It is a process you have to take yourself through, one where you surrender. Be gentle with yourself as you begin to let go and open to the experience. Let the breath alchemize any discomfort. And just see how long you can stay here, breathing.
Rama
Inhale deep, hold the expression, squeeze. Stay in the mudra as you exhale. Inhale deep again. Squeeze up, project light out of the third eye, out of the heart, the throat. Stay in it as you exhale. Last time, inhale. Squeeze up from your root. And exhale, it's part of the Kriya to go into a full minute of rest. So please come on to the back. It's still part of the Kriya. exhale, begin to shake the body. Every part of your body. Shake, 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 shake. Toes, fingers, legs, arms, head. Move all of the energy that you just cultivated into every part of the body. Inhale and exhale. Slowly make your way back up to seated. And actually, part of the Kriya to end, it says to talk to each other for a few minutes before you like go out into the world and like do stuff or like drive a vehicle or operate machinery. So, spend a few minutes after this, just kind of like walking around outside or drinking some water if there's somebody around, or animals, or, talk out loud, something just to kind of recalibrate you and bring you back in. But thank you guys all so much for spending your morning with me. Such a special morning. And I love you guys. And we're going to close out. We have this song we sing called The Long Time Sun. If you know it, you can sing it. Otherwise, you can just listen. But it's a prayer for yourself and for each other. Inhale. May the long time sun shine upon you, all love surround you, and the pure light within you guide your way on, guide your way on, guide your way on. Sat Nam. Sat Nam. Sat Nam. Okay, it's my prayer that the peace, compassion, understanding, and wisdom of Jesus and Mary be with us today and in the coming weeks as we're in this healing energy of spring. And I love you guys so much. Sat Nam.